behalf of the city of Grovetown as it relates to Vicky Capetillo, the former city clerk. Afterwards, I'll take a few questions and answer those questions to the best of my ability. The former city clerk of Grovetown, Vicky Capetillo, has been charged by way of an informational and federal court by the United States government. The United States Treasury Department, along with the FBI, has been investigating the embezzlement of city funds since the spring of last year. The federal informational lists Capetillo as being charged with money laundering and payment theft with the maximum of 30 years of prison. An informational is somewhat different from an indictment, whereas an indictment, a grand jury gets to hear the evidence and hear testimony, see the evidence and hear testimony. Capetillo allegedly took at least $5,000 of FEMA funds from the city. I have no direct knowledge of this charge, and based upon the informational filed, this investigation remains very active and much more is to follow. This is the early stages of this matter until such time Capetillo appears before a federal judge. As we learn more into the matter, it will be released to the media and to the public. Thank you, and I'll take any questions that you might have.
These charges come from information that was found through the forensic audit. Do you know the answer?
No, it has nothing to do with the forensic audit.
So right now we're talking about 1, 2, 3 different incidents that she's involved in with. Counting
the city of, or the Lions Club incident, yes. Correct.
All right, and this is FEMA money. This money is meant for the city of Grovetown that she allegedly took.
That's what the informational reads. As I say, I hadn't spoke to the agent in regards to that to get any more details. That will be forthcoming. At some point, maybe this week, I will have a lot more detail and can speak more about that.
And to hear that this was money meant for the city of Grovetown, I'm assuming during the ice storm, you know, as a mayor, how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel as it should any citizen. That money goes back to the city to utilize in whatever line code that it may be needed in. I mean, it's money that we paid out to take care of incidents that happened during that storm. If the storm is what's related to the FEMA funds, and that I'm not sure. So
this is true, which is more money on top of more money for the city of Grovetown.
Yeah, that's what it appears to be. Yes.
Do you expect more charges to come forward?
Yes, I do.
And after a situation like this, you know, what are we doing here to make sure it doesn't happen again?
Well, we put in a lot of safety precautions in place. Number one, that we started with a new city administrator that is on top of the ball, whereas in the past that was not the case. We have an accountant, a finance director that is cross-checking, back-checking everything. And of course the forensic audit is really checking back into detail any activity that may result in criminal behavior. So we should have that report hopefully very soon, and we'll continue to look at our audits a lot more closer than we ever have before.
And have you had a lot of the community come forward to talk to you about what's going on, and how have you responded so far?
In relation to what's happened today, I haven't heard very much. I think the information is really just starting to filter out. I expect to get some calls in regards to it, and there's still a lot of non-believers out there that under the old regime, old guard, so to speak, and maybe this will at least shed some more light to that.
I didn't have a chance to check, go back and do some fact checking on the water bill department, the forensic audit. How much money was that?
Clarify your question.
For the forensic audit, for the money that was...
How much have we paid for the forensic audit?
Or how much is she accused of taking?
Well, I don't have that exact figure and don't want to speculate on it until that forensic audit is made public to me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you gave me numbers in the past.
No, it's a high figure. We'll put it at that.
Once the forensic audit comes back, depending on what they find from that, what do you kind of expect to happen after you get the results of that?
Well, I expect some of the federal charges to continue to move forward in lieu of whether or not we get this forensic audit back in any timely fashion or not. The forensic audit is going to really kind of solidify what the city believes to have transpired and help us in regards to knowing where the funds went and exactly how much it was.
And that's about a federal level, right? The forensic audit?
No, the forensic audit is for us. Okay. the city.
You mentioned just before this started that you've been waiting for this day for 2 years as part of your campaign platform. Tell me about the day is here. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel good. It has been a long, drawn-out process. People have often came up to me and thought that this was going to be pushed to the wayside, but people don't understand federal investigations. You folks have been involved in that, and you do a lot of research on it, so you know it takes a good bit of time, and we're nowhere near the completion of that even now as we speak. Any further questions?
I can't think of any right now.
As the information becomes available, in light of transparency, you know how the city does with that, either myself or the information officer of the city administrator will pass that information along.
Last question, have you had a chance to talk to any of the council members about this?
I've talked to 2 this morning that really called and said, is it true, the story that I'm hearing? And I said, what I can tell you is what, the same thing that I've read, and that there is more forthcoming.
What are they saying about it?
They're thrilled that it's moving forward. But we need to get this to the forefront and off the reputation of the city. We need to move forward in a positive light.
Do you feel like you're moving in the right direction?
Absolutely. Thank you.